Hey everyone, my name is Jack, and in this video I want to go over the importance of tracking both your income and your expenses every single month and having a general budget going into those months, and as well as going over some of the steps that you can take to optimize your spending as you move towards your financial goals. Before we move any further, before you get too excited, I want to make sure that before you make any budget, you have to start by tracking your current expenditures compared to your current income. After all, anyone could write a budget, but in order to make it an effective budget, you need to know what you're actually spending in a given month and what are the necessities versus what are the luxuries. Thankfully, thanks to platforms like Personal Capital and Mint.com, it is increasingly easy to track your expenses and categorize your expenditures so that you can easily analyze where you're putting your money the most, what are the necessities, and what are those luxuries that you can cut out. These platforms work by aggregating all of your bank account data and spending data to where you can easily see what money's coming in and then how exactly you're spending that money to where you can categorize it very quickly, all in one easy platform. I have used Personal Capital for a few years. I tried Mint a while back. I just prefer Personal Capital, but both get the job done. Just depends on your preferences. And of course, there are a variety of others as well. I just haven't tried them, but there are plenty out there. It's a pretty simple concept that can be executed well. But if you're not into the modern efficiencies of things like Personal Capital and Mint.com and the many other platforms that are out there, you certainly can choose to track all of your expenses yourself by manually recording them into things like Excel. Just be sure that you keep your tracking up to date and that you don't fall behind in what you're actually spending, since it doesn't really help a lot just to track some of your expenditures. You want to see the entire picture so that you can optimize your budget to fit your exact needs and your lifestyle. Now, in addition to your income and expenses that you should also track your net worth. A person's net worth is the difference between their assets and their liabilities. The more assets you have compared to your liabilities, the greater your net worth and generally the richer you are. Even if you own a lot of assets that aren't easily convertible into cash, they ultimately are convertible into cash, so they are worth something, and that the higher your net worth, generally the more flexible you are over the short to intermediate term, since you can sell off those assets to turn them into cash and get you out of a financial pinch if it ever comes down to it. Generally, having a higher net worth also makes you more creditworthy, so if you want to go borrow against your assets, you have more room to do that as well. Thankfully, Personal Capital and Mint.com also have net worth trackers, so if you put in all of your investment and bank data, they can quickly calculate your approximate net worth, so that makes it very easy. One rule of thumb is you definitely always want to have a positive net worth if possible. Thanks to things like student loans, there's actually a lot of people who are entering the workforce with a completely negative net worth, often six-figure negative net worth. Unless you have high income, this makes it very hard to qualify for loans and especially hard to get out of an economic pinch since you don't have enough assets to take care of your liabilities that you currently have. So, in addition to your spending and income, you should always track your net worth as well, since both are very important financial measurements that you should always keep tabs on. Now, I want to talk a little bit more about the importance of categorizing your spending when you're tracking your overall expenditures. When you categorize your budget into things like food, transportation, housing costs, restaurant costs, and other things, you can easily see what areas are taking up the biggest portion of your income. Generally, the bigger the expense category, that's the one that you should be prioritizing more than the others, since that takes up a greater portion of your income. This is something that Scott Trench from Bigger Pockets talks a lot about in his great book, Set for Life. I've included a link in the description. But Scott talks a lot about how you want to optimize the big areas of your expenses, where a lot of attention is put on things like going out to restaurants that really only take up usually a small portion of your budget, when really the big focus should be on the big expense categories, mainly food, housing, and transit. Those are often the three biggest categories of expenditures for any average American. Because of this, even if you say eliminate all of your restaurant expenditures, that might still be less than if you just limited your housing expenditures by an extra 3 or 4%. Now, of course, you should eliminate unnecessary luxuries if you're in a financial pinch or if you're trying to accelerate your financial growth, but ultimately the biggest categories are the ones that ultimately have the biggest impact, so you should really be focusing on those first. After you've tracked your income and expenses, when it comes time to actually making your budget, check out my free budget template, which I've left a link for in the description. It tells you how much money you'll have left over automatically based on your monthly expenses and income, and multiplies it over the year as well, so you can see the progress that you'll make in that year. It's It's also easily customizable to where you can add in any special expenses that are not already on there. And even if you don't like it, that's too bad because it's free. Sorry. I want to talk a little bit more in detail about how to adjust your income and expenses. I've talked a little bit about focusing on the big areas for expenses, but you might be wondering how you can go about increasing your income. Most people work a salaried job, and generally salaried jobs look at about a 2 to 5% increase at most when it comes to getting a raise each year. This, of course, is assuming you get a raise at all, since some companies are stingier than others. At these sorts of jobs, usually the only option to get a lot more income without moving jobs entirely is to work more hours or to simply keep asking for raises, but both can be pretty hard to get since the budgets at these companies are often set, and it can be hard to just get more hours or to get a bigger raise all of a sudden. Another option for increasing income is to work something like a side job, which is basically just like working overtime, only it's with a different job instead of the one you currently are at. But this can be very unfeasible as well, since you ultimately only have so many hours in the day, and there is certainly a cap on this as well. You only have so many hours that you can give to an employer, since you have other obligations in your life. Not to mention there is a physical cap on hours in the day. As I already kind of mentioned, another way to increase your income is to switch jobs. Sometimes in the same industry, that can be a viable option, especially in things like tech right now. Often it's quicker to get raises by switching companies and getting a boost in your salary than actually staying at the current company you're at and getting raises slowly each year. However, in whatever industry this is, this will often require that you have to move or even go out of state, so that might not be very feasible as well. The other way to increase your salaried income is to take a job that is based on performance rather than just the time that you spend at the job. Of course, this is easier said than done in that you will have to perform really well if you're trying to blow the ceiling off of your current income cap. But jobs like being a real estate broker, being a salesperson, generally any salesy type job will have some sort of commission structure, but those are ones that have technically unlimited income potential, especially if it gives you opportunity to scale and even hire people below you. While they are a great way to potentially improve your income, they do come with some risk in that if you don't perform, you're not going to get paid. Perhaps one of the most effective ways to improve your income is to actually invest it and get passive income from those investments. Things like dividend stocks, rental real estate, and other financial assets can be great ways to produce extra income on the side with comparatively little effort compared to something like a job. A semi-passive way to improve your income situation is to do something called house hacking. House hacking is where you buy a multi-unit or a house that might be too big for you, and you rent out the extra space to tenants who then pay you and offset your housing costs. That's currently what I do. I live in a condo in Chicago, and I have a roommate who offsets the majority of our housing expenses because I bought a place that was 1 bedroom and 1 bathroom too big for us, and that is what we rent out to our tenant. Of course, if you're not used to city living, or if you do what we do and we have a roommate, you do have to sacrifice some privacy, and that's not something that some people are always comfortable with, but it is definitely something to consider. The financial benefits can be very powerful, especially over the long run. That's why I have a video in detail about house hacking that I recommend you check out if you're at all interested. But in general, the more investments you have, the more income you should be able to produce with those investments, and the more income that you'll have for your budget. The final way to potentially improve your income is to take entrepreneurial risks, maybe start a business or do something that has literally no income cap and can be scaled. But even if it can't be scaled, if it's something like a side business, maybe you hire one person out to do it, that can still be a great way to improve your income depending on what the business is. Ultimately, there's basically no limit on what types of businesses you can start and different ways to make extra money on the side. Starting a business is certainly a great way that you can potentially do that. But in short, increasing income can be a little bit difficult depending on your situation, especially if you already have a family or maybe you're trying to settle down somewhere. It can be a little hard to be that flexible to where maybe you're switching jobs, or if you're spending all these hours doing some sort of entrepreneurial business, that can be pretty taxing. When it comes to improving your budget, the alternative to increasing income is to decrease expenses. Now, unlike increasing income, decreasing expenses is a lot more tax efficient, since whenever you increase your income, you're ultimately probably increasing your taxes as well. But when you cut your current expenses, it's as though you're taking the money you already have and you're just paying yourself back with the expenses that you are no longer spending. And the government doesn't tax that, but they will certainly tax the extra income that you produce if you get a raise at your job. Now, I've already mentioned that you should probably put the most emphasis on the biggest categories of your expenses if you're trying to improve your financial situation. One potential way to do this is to move closer to where you actually work, to eliminate some of the transit costs, if not all of the transit costs, as that can be a way to save a lot of money each month. Now, of course, depending on where you live, this is also much more easily said than done, but do take into consideration the different transit options that you have depending on where you live. Bigger cities especially will have a lot of transit options that might be much, much cheaper than taking a car, and plus you don't have to actually focus on driving at those. So take all of your options into consideration, especially from a financial perspective, if you're trying to save money each month. Moving to a place that's much closer to a transit center or much closer to your work if you have to drive can be great ways to eliminate the amount of transit costs that you will have. Now, when it comes to food, cooking your own food at home is often a great way to easily cut the major expenses that come with eating out each day, especially if you eat out with coworkers a lot. Bringing your own lunch is almost always going to be cheaper than if you went out, and if it's not cheaper, it's probably healthier, since the only super cheap restaurant-type foods are generally very greasy fast foods, and that's no good for anyone. But in general, take a look at the current expenditures that you have and look at where you can make incremental cuts to your budget. As you make those cuts, you'll find that you'll have a lot more financial flexibility, both in achieving your long-term and short-term goals. To help you get started on your budgeting adventures, I've included a free budget template in the description. It should help you to develop a more coherent financial plan if you don't have one already. If you want to learn something about yourself, definitely start tracking your expenses. You'll start to see where you're putting all of your money, and those areas can be the things that you focus on for improving your financial situation. Ultimately, there is almost always something that you can cut out from your budget to improve your financial situation for the long term. By tracking your spending in the first place, you can figure out how to optimize your budget, increase your savings rate, and generally just make your financial situation that much better every single month. I hope this video was helpful for learning about the importance of not only having a budget, but tracking your expenses and income in the first place. If you like this video, be sure to give it a like. It helps the channel out a lot. If you have any questions, be sure to leave comments below. I have new videos every single week, so I hope you subscribe so you don't miss any of those. Until next time, take care.